Today I'm going to show you how to make an Indian teepee. So now that Halloween is over, we're moving on into Thanksgiving. And some of you in school might be studying the first Thanksgiving that ever happened with the Pilgrims and the Native Americans. So I wanted to show you a couple of ways that you could make Indian teepees in case you wanted to make an Indian village. So what you'll need is some brown or beige construction paper. A heavier paper is better than just regular computer paper. A brown paper bag. You can use all different kinds of brown paper bags, bigger or smaller. I just cut the top portion of the bag off because I didn't need all of it. And so I'm going to show you the first way that I would make a Indian teepee. So you're going to take a piece of paper. You could use the entire sheet of paper if you wanted a really tall teepee. I'm using half of a sheet of construction paper. And I'm just going to take this sheet of paper and fold it toward the middle and curve it around. Okay, I want to leave a little bit of room at the top because the way that teepees were held up were by these poles. So the poles usually stick out of the top, as well as it having an opening. Teepees generally have an opening so that they can have a fire inside, and then the smoke would just travel up the top, almost like a chimney. So the first thing you're going to do is you're going to glue your paper when you have it in the right spot. You're going to have to put some pressure on it for a few moments to let the glue situate. And so you have a hole at the top, and then you have a big triangle at the bottom. Now, I'm going to wipe off my excess glue. You can use a glue stick if you like. You can use tape or a staple. Now, the thing about this, having twisted the paper, it's now no longer flat on the bottom. So I have to figure out a way. I could hold it up like this, and that could be my teepee. It would be a little tilted. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my scissors and cut off the excess paper on one side and cut off the excess paper on the other side. And then my teepee will stand up a little bit better. I'm going to cut off a little bit more on this side so that they're even. Okay, and now I take my straws and I open a straw, and if it's the kind that are flexy, you can cut off the flexy part if you want, or you can just leave it there. You could leave the straws in the paper if you prefer. And so what you want to do is you want to put the straws in at the top of your teepee at different angles, and you can use your tape to tape them where they are. I'm using a big tape today, but you could use Scotch tape or any other kind of tape that you have handy, masking tape. I'm just going to cut off a few pieces of tape so that I can tape my straws inside. Okay, so I'm going to take my teepee, turn it upside down, tape one straw there, tape the other straw with paper there, and there you go. That's one way to make a teepee. Once your teepee's done, you could then begin to design it, and you could use a lighter color paper, you could use yellow, you could use white, but construction paper or heavy paper is better. So sometimes the designs on teepees are arrows, or they may have animals on there. So I'm gonna, and when they do animals, it's usually like the shadow prints, so it's not a lot of detail to the animal. And so you just want to draw little shadow prints. So that is one way to make a teepee. Another way to make a teepee is to use a brown paper bag, like a lunch bag. And again, because I didn't want my teepee to be super tall, I just cut off the top portion of the brown bag. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw my design on my teepee first before I make it when I do it with the brown paper bag, because it's a little bit harder to do it once it's made. So I'm going to press my bag down. I'm going to draw some animal figures. I'm going to do a head and a ears, and then come down at legs, and then a tail. And then I'm going to do another one on this side, doing the opposite. And so it almost looks like two eyes with very long lashes. I'm going to draw some arrows. And then maybe a sun. Okay, so that's essentially going to be the design on my teepee. So what I want to do is I want to find the bottom seam of the bag, and I want to take my scissors and pressing very lightly, I want to make an indent in the paper where the seam is. Then I'm going to use my scissors and I'm going to follow that seam straight across the bottom of the brown bag. Not all the way across, but this space is going to be the opening of my teepee that's right there. So I want it to be big enough that it looks functional. So once I have that starter thing, I am going to cut up and make a triangle shape. Okay, so that would be the opening or the entrance to my teepee. Now I'm going to take the bag and I'm going to open it and press it out so that all the sides, the four sides are full. I'm now going to squeeze, so close it and then squeeze going up to the top. And so I'm going to take, you can take string, you can take tape. I'm going to use a little bit of lanyard. Oops, a little bit of lanyard. And you take your straw and you put your straw in the top of the teepee, just like we did before here. And I usually put two. I like that it's a colored thing. You could use pipe cleaner if you wanted. You could use paper, not paper, you could use wooden popsicle sticks and sort of cut them thin. So once I have my shape and my straws inside, I then tie off the top of my teepee. I'm going to tie it in a knot back here. And you can cut the excess off once you know it's tied tightly, so it's not as visible. And then you want to make sure that you puff out your TeePee sides. And there you have two very easy and simple ways to make a teepee. You can do multiple teepees, have a whole village, you can make trees, you could make Indians or Native Americans, you could make pilgrims, you can make a dinner table, you could make these as little table decorations for a Thanksgiving themed dinner or anything like that. So that's a really simple way for you to make a Native American teepee. Enjoy!